Today, 3 signs your twin flame is awakening. We're going to do the signs. We're also going to talk about, is that a thing? Do they awaken? Because you're going through a lot of hell, or at least you were. Maybe you still are. And they're not really focused on you. It's so weird and it doesn't seem fair because you are going out of your mind. This dark night of the soul, the obsessive thinking, you're just absolutely losing your shit and they could care less. What the hell? Why? And are they going to awaken? Are they going to change? Are they going to shift? Are they going to feel anything like I'm feeling? Right? That's what you want to know. That's what you want to know. Well, I've got some good news for you. We're going to talk about all the things today, my friends. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Kurt. I am the world's #1 twin flame coach. I've coached over 6,000 twin flame students through my twin flame coaching program, the Introduction to the Journey. I've been doing this for a long time, my friends. I cracked the code on twin flames. So we're going to talk about all the things today. If you're new here, welcome, welcome. You're going to get something a little different than what you've probably heard before about twin flames. So strap in and grab your popcorn. So quickly, I'm going to list the signs, and then we're going to go into detail on each one and cover all of the interesting talking points that I've raised today. So the first one, they unblock you, or they stop rejecting you, or they start talking to you. You know how they're kind of putting you in the friend zone, they're keeping you at an arm's length. They don't quite reciprocate, or maybe they just tell you directly, I'm not interested, or they've got you blocked, or they ghosted you, or whatever it is, right? You're out of your mind in love with them, and they're rejecting you in some form or another. Well, it ends. It stops, right? You maybe even run into them around town, or in another state, or in another country. And if you think I'm kidding about that, think again. It's happened to many of my students who met their twin flame, like over the internet. And then they run into them at an airport or something. It happens. And it's not magic. It's technology. I'm going to explain to you today also what twin flames are. And yeah, this is very real. And my down to earth, back to basics scientific approach is what has made me so reliable as the world's authority on twin flames. Sign number 2, you haven't really given them a thought in ages. You're not even focused on them. You might get out of bed one day and realize they haven't crossed my mind for a week. Right, that's exactly when you're going to hear from them. Very interesting. So you're going to get different behavior from your twin flame all of a sudden. They're going to be very, very interested in you. They're going to want to talk to you instead of rejecting you, instead of running away. Right. And who doesn't want that? Now, the third sign is you're focused on your ascension. And I don't mean that in the kind of stereotypical pop culture sense of the word when we think of spiritualism, which is, beads and dreadlocks and tie-dyed t-shirts and crystals and incense and tarot readers and energy clearings and clearing your karma and healing and all of these kind of new agey things, which aren't necessarily bad if you're into those things. That's great. But that's not really what ascension is. That's not quite the core of spiritualism. Spiritualism is remembering that you are the consciousness. You are the awareness of thinking. True Zen spiritualism is to remember that you are not your mind. And we're going to talk about that in detail. You are not the mind, the ego, personality, the emotions, the thoughts, right? That's not who you are. But most people, they kind of forgot that. Most people, even if they conceptually realize that they are a soul, which remember is your twin flame, you and your twin flame are the same soul. Even if people know that they are a soul conceptually, we still live as this personality. And there's nothing wrong with that. But to go into this deeper remembrance that you are awareness itself, you are the consciousness behind the thinker, behind the doer and the seeker. You are not the seeker. You are the awareness of the seeking. That's true enlightenment. And that's how you get your twin flame to stop rejecting you. I'm just saying. So let's talk about that one first. What twin flames are. Because here's the thing. There's lots of different ideas about what to do about your twin flame online. And there's nothing wrong with that, I guess. I mean, in a sense, because everybody's just trying to figure it out, you know? I don't think there really are people, maybe one or two, but for the most part, anybody trying to deceive you, everybody's just trying to figure it out. And hey, that's great. Everybody just wants answers. But unfortunately, anybody can say anything they want to on the internet, right? And so when you're looking around for information on the internet about twin flames, you're getting all these different answers. And it's confusing and you don't know what to do or who to listen to. But did you notice that the one thing everybody gets the same, everybody says the same, is that your twin flame is your soul. It's one soul in two bodies, or it's like the soul split, or you're the same soul vibration, or something like that, right? Everybody says that. No matter what they tell you to do about it, you know, clearing your chakras, balancing your inner feminine and masculine, getting a bunch of psychic readings, you know, whatever it is, everybody's telling you to do something different, and I'm going to do that too, but mine is going to match up with the actual science of what twin flames are, which is what everybody agrees on, which is interesting because if everybody realizes that twin flames are one soul, what's the problem? Well, I don't know. I don't want to open up that can of worms, but maybe the problem is everybody's trying to understand spiritualism, and that's where you get the takeaway, the impression that you get when you look at spiritualism online. You get the impression that it's all about the henna tattoos and burning sage and learning about spirit people and talking to people on the other side and crystals and balancing your energies and these kinds of things, which again, I'm not knocking those things. I mean, I've got crystals, but that's not quite what spiritualism is. And by the way, spirit is consciousness. You are body, mind, soul. So the mind is thoughts and ideas and concepts, and the body, it's similar in that it's also action, doing. Thinking is an action. Emotion is an action. So body, physical, mind, mental, emotional, and metaphysical. And both of those things work on a system of duality. There's a this and there's a that. There's a yin and there's a yang. Here, look, I've even got a diagram to show you what I'm talking about, right? This is where the yin and yang symbol comes from. The soul is non-duality. It's not thought. It's consciousness. Everybody's trying to figure out spiritualism. And I'm over here going, well, somebody already kind of figured it out a long time ago. Buddha, Jesus, Krishna, right? Yogananda, Eckhart Tolle, right? The great spiritual masters of the ages. What do they always tell us? You are not your mind. And the mind is tricky. It's sneaky. It's seeking. It's looking for external things that I need to be doing or thinking to be spiritual. I got to start with doing, and then I will have certain things that make me spiritual, certain activities I'm doing, certain rituals I'm doing, energy clearings, crystals, whatever, and then I will be spiritual. The truth is, spiritual starts with being, pure being. If you've got a bunch of thoughts and emotions going on, and you're thinking and thinking and thinking all the time, what is it that is aware of the thinking? So what is the soul? We just talked about the body and the mind doing actions, thinking, and having, right? What about the soul? If my twin flame is my soul, maybe what I should be up to is as the soul does. Soul stuff. I should be doing soul stuff, which is actually not doing. It's just being. It's just existing. So I say to you again, there's thoughts and emotions going on, and then you are aware that there's thoughts and emotions going on. And let's face it, when you've got this ridiculous obsessive thinking about your twin flame, your mind is going 1,000,000,000,000 miles an hour, and the thinking is so intense that it hurts. And by the way, you can't make it stop. It's like it's happening to you. It's insane, right? Yeah, well, it's a little hard to not notice the thinking, right? What is it that notices? See, your soul is trying to get you to wake up. And I know it's very painful, but it's for a purpose. They even have a term for this. In ancient Zen spiritualism, they call it ego death. You might refer to it as dark night of the soul, but it's the same thing. This awareness of the thinking, the consciousness, that is the true self. When you do the thing that we call die, the body goes away, the mind goes away. What's left? You, consciousness, the awareness, right? The non-duality. And science works the same way. This is what's so cool about this, is our universe functions this way. They call it relativity in science, things being greater or lesser, right? Or past, future. The Bible called it the Alpha and the Omega. Ancient Zen spiritualism, they just call it duality. But it's the same thing. That's how the mind, the body, and the universe function. But you are the non-duality consciousness. That's the soul. Now, here's another interesting thing. The soul incarnates. So past lives, future lives, reincarnation, right? So you just have two. Everybody. You just have two incarnations of your soul going on right now. So in my diagram, this is your past life in the year 1770. This is the year 1880, and this is you and your twin flame. Now, this is the so-called higher self in heaven, or the energy part of the universe, as I call it. You could call it dark energy, right? Science calls it dark energy. It's something like 70% of the mass of the universe or more. That's a conservative estimate. You could call it the field, right? They used to call it ether, but you're not allowed to use that word anymore, right? So scientists, they just call it the field, right? It's what we perceive as a complete vacuum. It's the void, the empty part of space. But there's really something there. And this is how gravity works. By the way, it's the bending of the fabric of space around an object. So if I'm bending space around the object, then there's something there. And by the way, they just recently confirmed that, yeah, there's something there. And the deeper they dig, the more they find. They call it the Higgs Field. And they know they're going to find more and more and more layers. And there's lots of different fields, I suppose, right? The electron field, and then there's the Higgs field, et cetera, et cetera. So this is what spiritual people have always referred to as heaven. or the afterlife, which is really the before life. Now, from this vantage point, there is no perception of time, and conventional science even says that's how this works, right? Right. So all of these individual incarnations are all happening all at the same time from the perspective of your higher self. Very interesting. So you and your twin flame are simply simultaneous incarnations of the same soul. That's all this is. That's all this is. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. We already know exactly what twin flames are. Now, when you are embracing your ascension, right? So that's the third sign that your twin flame is awakening, right? You're going to go beyond the mental perception of self. So for example, I am a YouTuber, or I'm a spiritual teacher, or I'm a truck driver, or I'm a tattoo artist, or I'm a teacher, or I'm an artist, or I'm a doctor, or I'm a liberal conservative, or I'm a man or a woman, or well, that's really biology, but like I'm a mom, or I'm a brother, or I've been to college, or I haven't been to college. I've traveled to these places. I've not traveled anywhere. I've got all this knowledge. I've done these things. This is what I do. This is who I am. That's what me is. It's a story, a narrative, a history. And I'm not saying that's bad. That's just what that is. That's the mind. And this actually explains a lot about why you get kind of the pop culture version of spiritualism on the internet, which is fine, no problem. If people are happy doing that, that's perfectly all right. But what I'm trying to direct your attention to is the core of spiritualism, which is not a belief system, it's not an ideology, it's not thought-based, it's not concept, it's not doing and action. That's all the mind. That's all the mental and emotional, metaphysical astral body. The mind identified sense of self. So you feel this urge also for answers. You might be in seeker mode. You're seeking everywhere on the internet for answers. Right, that's not you. You are not a seeker. That's the mind. It is seeking answers. I don't have the answer. I want the answer. I'm here. I need to get there to the outcome. Duality, yin and yang. I'm here. I need to get there. And what I'm telling you essentially is you already are your twin flame. You already are them. You literally are your twin flame. The question is, what is you? What is that? Because when you go beyond the mental mind, mental and emotional, you are this consciousness. You are the actual awareness of the seeker, of the thinking and the emotions. This is why meditation is so popular with spiritual people, because when you slow down, you're able to remember that's who you really are. And if you're more focused on increasing that level of consciousness that you really are, then you're focused on your ascension. Also, the thinking is going to slow down. So now we're going to backtrack to sign number 2. You're not really thinking about them because you've slowed down the wheel of thought. You've taken energy away from it. You've taken the focus of your consciousness off of it. You're transcending the mind identification type of self, the person, right? And then, of course, sign number 1, yeah, you're going to hear from them. You're going to run into them around town. Now, are they awakening? Well, I think I've pretty well just answered that question. It doesn't seem to be a thing with them. They kind of just want to be around you, like in a very urgent way, all of the sudden. But they don't awaken spiritually the way you do. And some people ask, why is that? Well, why didn't your past life back here in 1770 or 1880 awaken? Why is it that one of these is the one? I don't know. You're going to have to ask God. You're going to have to ask your higher self. Why does it work that way? I don't know. Your soul said it's time, and you're the one. Kind of makes you feel picked on, doesn't it? But that's okay. This is the best thing that's ever happened to you. Trust me. If you can just get out of the addictive chains of the ego mind and its expectations about the way this is going to go. Now, I'm going to give you some resources before we go. If you're still with me, I want to hook you up. Check it out. So, I've done over 1,000 videos on this YouTube channel, and I made a greatest hits playlist that you can go check out right now. Absolutely free coaching on this YouTube channel. Go check them out, guys. It's called the True Twin Flame Teachings playlist. Go to the playlists menu up above. Or if you're on your phone, I think you got to click on just click on my picture, right? And then you'll see it. Playlists, go there. Find the True Twin Flame Teachings playlist. Just watch the first 10 videos. And special treat, make sure you watch the video talking about twin flames, separation consciousness, unity consciousness, union, and detaching. When you find out where those words really came from and why people in the twin flame community are using them, you're going to pee your pants. Because it's like, oh, the correct answer has been right under my nose this whole time. That's right. It has been under your nose this whole time. Those are not twin flame terminologies, but I think it's very interesting that twin flames are using them. Go check that video out. Go check out that playlist as well. And one last thing. Watch the Samadhi movie. Watch it tonight. Samadhi, Samadhi. It's on YouTube. It's free. Go check it out, Samadhi. Make sure you watch part 1 first. Don't skip around or it won't make sense to you. Go watch that movie, Samadhi. Do it today. It'll change your life and you'll get what this journey is really all about. You'll have so much clarity. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful week. I'll see you later.